Hi guys, welcome back to a special Saturday edition of my now daily, almost daily channel. So I wanted to make a little video about me because some of you guys may have been around here from the beginning, which was, I don't know when I started making content on YouTube, probably either late 2019 or sometime in 2020. But I've been doing this for a while. But some of you may have not been around and seen all of the stories from back then. So I'm turning 40 this year at the end of the year. And I have been a lifelong herper. I mean, I've been catching frogs and tadpoles and salamanders and whatever else since I could remember. Probably 5, 6 years old. And around in the beginning of 2019, I got my first ball python. I wasn't allowed to have snakes when I was a kid. I started off with corn snakes when I moved out in my early 20s. Didn't breed anything though, just as pets because I wanted to try snakes at that point in my life. But I got my first ball python. It was a pastel male at a local reptile show here in Pittsburgh in the beginning of 2019. And I immediately fell in love with them. And then I found Morph Market. And then I found blue-eyed Lucy's, specifically, the lessers, super lessers or lesser Mojaves, so that they were the all whites with the bright blue eyes. So then I bought my first, at that point in time, what I considered an expensive snake. It was like $500. Little did I know that I'd be spending $6, $7, $8,000 on snakes or pairs of snakes a couple years down the road. So that's where I started off. And at that point, I think my first clutches hatched in 2020. And, I was making a lot of blue-eyed Lucy's that year and some banana stuff. 2021 was my first bigger year where I had maybe 20 clutches or so. I think I produced about 100 snakes or so. But I had one clutch that had like any recessives in it, and I think there's like pastel leopard clowns, and there's like 2 or 3 of them in the clutch because it was like a visual to a het. Everything else was all just codoms. Now I made some nice codoms that year, and I sold some. I made some blue-eyed Lucy's combos that were kind of unseen that I sold for like $1,500 that year. And that's when I realized, the more that I started to pay attention to the other big breeders on YouTube, that I could do this more steadily as a business, maybe full time, if I decided to invest in a little bit better of a product. And this is one of the 2 males that I initially invested in. He is an OD leopard firefly. I believe he's also Enchi and yellow belly ultramel het pied. I got him from Ozzy. I also got another male from Ozzy who I just had out and tried to initially shoot this video with, but he was being too crazy and trying to choke me out. He was a super OD yellow belly leopard Enchi pied. I think he's also fire. So I bought these 2 males from Ozzy. I think this guy was about $7,500, and I think the ultramel guy that I'm holding was $5,500. Now, at the end of the day, this male actually ended up being a better investment. He was actually less, and his price tag is, in everything he's created and going to create for me, he's actually probably holding value better than just this single recessive pied in the other one. But that's when I started heavily investing in snakes and spending a little more money on them. And then, that's when I bought my first pair of lightning pieds. That's when I started getting more into the pied projects. And basically I sold everything that was like codom only that year after they bred and started gobbling up pieds. Then the following year, 2022, I only have 4 clutches, including my lightning pied clutch, which made me a ton of money. And then last year, 2023, I went into being more heavily recessive. I don't know if I had any clutches that didn't have a recessive gene in it. I made a lot of stuff in the blackhead leopard Mojave, triple het or double visuals that were in the black axanthic hypopied project. I made a lot of pied het ultramels from this boy here and some other pairings. I made a few lightning pieds. I made some clown pied stuff. So I'm heavily into the recessives, doubles, and triples at this point. I made some DG pied stuff. This year it's going to be more DG clown stuff, more clown pied stuff, hopefully a lot more ultramel stuff. So basically, I went from, I have a couple snakes. Just this is how most people start it, right? I have a couple snakes to I have a couple more snakes to, you know what, I might turn this into a little hobby business to, holy crap, I can make some money off of this. In a couple of my last videos, we're talking about the money aspect of this and building it into a business. And so that's where I'm at. I think basically in 2021, personally, I had been working for my brother's IT company for probably my whole adult life. And in 2020, he decided to get out of it and do something else. So I took the company off of him. But I never kind of looked at it. It was a small company. It made enough of a living for me, but I knew at some point some of those clients were probably going to go away. I didn't want to sell that company anymore because I wasn't. It's not my passion in life, and sometimes you just have to make money, right? You can't just always follow your passion. But snakes are actually my passion. Reptiles are my passion. It's been something that I've been doing since I was a little kid. So at that point in time, I was basically like, you know what? My 5-year plan is that I need to build this business up, do it right, so that it's something that is going to be my lifeline for the foreseeable future. Fast forward to now, and we're kind of at that point. This is kind of like I guess me being a little more open with the reality of my situation here. I have spent lots of money, a couple $100,000 on everything that I have in here. I went all in. I've basically not taken any vacations that were expensive over the past 4 or 5 years. I haven't spent any money outside of buying the house that we're currently in, which helped me upgrade to a bigger snake room here. We actually bought this house because it had this room is underneath our garage. It's detached, like that's the one doorway into here. It's detached kind of from the rest of the house. I mean, it's attached, but it's underneath. And if you get what I'm saying. So, I mean, the reason we bought this house was because it had this room in it. There was a major factor in us buying this house. So over the past couple years, I had a couple good years financially with my IT business, also with the snakes. But every dime I made with the snakes was getting thrown back into the snakes. I haven't taken any profit out of it yet. But the IT stuff, I had a couple good years. I was able to raise prices after the COVID year on some contracts. I had a lot of extra contracts and extra, supplementary work with some of those clients that brought in some extra funds. And then, last year I actually lost a client because and these are monthly clients, so they pay me every single month. I actually lost a client because they decided to go with, a lifelong friend from the country club who did IT work. And now this year, I'm actually losing my biggest client, unfortunately, because they're going out of business, because they're selling to a larger company. So it's really putting a pinch on my financials, unfortunately, for everything else. I still have clients left, but it's kind of like at the point where I'm at, like, look, I got a couple small clients left, and I'm, making snakes my full-time gig. And that's why I decided to start making videos every day of the week. Let me get this guy off of my wrist so I can get him on my shoulder. That's why I decided to start doing videos more often, to get in front of people more often, so that I can really ramp this all up this year, because I am serious about this. I'm taking this seriously. Obviously, I have been, because I've spent every last dime I've made for the last 5 years on this business. But it's very important to me. This is what I want to do permanently. I'm probably going to be at the point in time where I'm going to put more effort into making it to shows, at least locally for the time being, to vend towards the end of the summer. Once this year kicks off and I start bringing in funds from the snakes, I will probably end up starting to go to the bigger shows, all the NARBC stuff. Just traveling, probably not vending. Some of them I can't even get into because they're not taking ball python breeders anymore. But I'll be probably being more present more out there, trying to network a little bit better with everybody else, because it's what I'm doing full time. That's where I'm at. This is something just like any other business. If you put the time into it, you got to put the money into it. You got to make the right decisions, and it can work out. This year, I'm expecting to do some really big things, and I kind of need to do really big things because I don't really have a backup plan at this point. I mean, this was my backup plan. I've been kind of planning since 2020. All right, I took over the IT business. Maybe within 5 years, I can kind of quit it and do this full time. And so, 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, and now we're in 2024. This is the 5th year. I'm at the point now, we're halfway through it, and I've lost 2 of my 5 or 6 clients, including my biggest one. And so this is at the point in time where I'm like, this is it. I mean, this is the year. This is the 5th year where it needs to make up for the expected loss of the revenue from my IT stuff. So this is going to be hopefully a giant year for us here at Snake Limited. I have a lot of awesome stuff getting produced here. Hopefully we're at are at or surpassed the lowest point of the market so far, so that people like me are able to realize their dreams. So that's a little bit of background. I don't want to get too mushy or too far into it. But let me hear your guys' stories about your journeys with ball pythons or other reptiles if you're into something else. I know leeches are becoming a bigger thing, leopard geckos, beardies. Obviously the blood pythons are starting to grow some bigger fanfare, hog noses. But I'm curious to see what you guys how your journeys are, if any of you are expecting to be full-time breeders in the future, or what your plans are, whether you just want to keep it as a hobby. Man, both these guys from Aussie are trying to choke me out today. Whether you just want to keep it as a hobby, or if you plan to turn it into a business. Very curious to see what everybody's plans are, because it's different for everybody. I know during the whole COVID boom, there were so many people that got into this thinking that it was going to be quick money. They were just going to buy a few snakes, and they were just going to breed a few snakes, and that they were going to make a shit ton of money out of nowhere. And that's the reason that the market was flooded to begin with. And that's why a lot of people are selling off their collections. That's why a lot of these people that were making content and making their names known for 1 or 2 or 3 years are completely gone and out of the game at this point. So that's not me. I'm here to stay. This is what my plan is for the future. So I want to bring you guys along with that ride. Again, I've mentioned this recently. My whole plan at this point is to be making videos daily here on YouTube, at least Monday through Friday. I do usually record them the day of the video posting. Sometimes they'll be the day before. So if you have questions or comments or things you want to talk about, topics, comment down below. Actually, a few of the last videos that I've produced were because of things people had to say in the videos, and they weren't even requesting content. It's just that they said something interesting, and I felt like it was a topic we should talk about. I am not Justin Kabelka. I haven't been here for 20 years, but I've been in the reptile industry as a buyer for 3 decades. I have sold hundreds of animals over the last few years. I have almost 200 ratings on Morph Market. I have thousands of videos and pictures posted. So I'm very well versed in how this whole thing works. I definitely need to still work on my game. I'm still not the best at any of those things, but I'm doing pretty damn well for myself, if I can't pat myself, or if Ultraman here wants to help pat me on the back. So I have a lot of information to share with people. I have a lot of things to learn as well. So if you guys are, have some awesome things to share that I don't know about or don't know the answer to, share that too. But this is a journey I want to take with you guys, bring you along, show you the awesome projects I'm working on. This is a lot of stuff that I talk to with my Patreon group. They obviously get first dibs on all the cool animals, but I want everybody to be able to see the cool animals that I produce. So, you know, YouTube guys, you're probably going to be the second people to see it, right after the Patreon people. So, let's, you know, hope for a big 2024, and I hope you guys enjoy the ride.